there we are. A nice Dover sole off of Lavernock sandspit, look. Well, welcome back everyone. And you join me on what is probably nowadays one of South Wales' most famous marks, and that is the sandspit down here at Lavernock Point. Well, in between Lavernock Point and Sully Island. And it's as famous as it is for one species, and that is the blonde rays. But we're not here for them today. We are here for the sole, which is a Dover sole, I might add. But it's a fish that gets looked past around sort of this stretch of South Wales. But Dover sole are around here. I mean, I personally say the spit here is probably the easiest place to catch them, around sort of Sully and Barry sort of area. It can be a very good spot for them, and it's one of those things I've never done much of in the past. I've had a few though when I have tried, so that is what we're here for today. So I've just got my first rods out, and we are now going to fish this low water venue and see if we can pluck out a Dover sole and possibly some little bass, maybe pouting, whiting, who knows. So we'll give it a good go, see what we can catch. Right, so rigs for today, I'm fishing just nice and simple, nothing overcomplicated, so I'm just fishing a through-hook flapper. Now that's made up of 60-pound backbone, and I've got 3 10-inch hook links on there that are made up of 25-pound fluoro, and on each of them I got a size 2J hook. And I'm not fishing far at all today. I don't plan on fishing more than like 30 yards. That sort of, you don't need to fish past that. The sole in here very, very close in. Because if you've ever fished it before and you've been out to either cast, like waded out to cast or land a fish for someone, you realise how deep it is in close, so you don't need to cast far. So I'm just fishing 3 and 4 ounce leads, just plain leads as well, little ball leads and pear leads, whatever I got with me. And yeah, that's nice and simple fishing. Don't need to overcomplicate it. And rod wise, I'm fishing with my Tronics Xenon C6s and the LDs, and I've got little small 5,500 pen slammers on there. Now these rods, well, this setup on also I got braid straight through on them and a braided shock leader. Now those rods are technically way too heavy for the distance I'm fishing and the way I'm fishing, so I have also brought a heavy spin rod with me. Now this kind of rod, it's a heavy lure rod rated up to 120 grams, and I got that with a 4,500 size slammer as well. Now that rod is perfect for this kind of fishing. You don't need anything of a length of these. But the reason I brought those rods is purely for the fact of, if it's really quiet with the little hooks in close, I've always got the option to put a slightly bigger bait on and cast a bit further, because there is a couple of guys fishing for the blondes up by there. I've no fish bait at all. All I've got with me is ragworm and blow lug. So even if they are catching blondes, I'm not really going to be able to try and catch them because I've only got worm. I was going to bring fish baits, but I just didn't bother, purely for the fact I want to restrict myself just to the sole and give myself the best chance for today. The worm, I will say though, the worm I got isn't dug, it's farm drag, which you will catch them on it, but it's not as good. That's all the fishing shops have been on to get recently, so that's all I got. But I'm feeling quite hopeful. A mate of mine had one here the other day, just over £1, I think he said. I'm feeling quite confident, to be honest. It's nice and overcast, not too bright. It's a good time of year for him now in August, so I'm going to get this rig baited up, move my gear down to the water's edge, refresh these 2 rods, and hopefully we can get some sole on camera. Well, I just flicked the spin rod out there, and as soon as I literally put it on the stand, it had a bite. And we've got ourselves a little small bass. Literally put that, I don't know, like 20 yards at the most. And that's our first fish of the session. That was literally, I mean, I cast it out, and I put the rod down on the stand, and I felt a pull over my hand. I was thinking, surely not already, but surely indeed. There we go, as our first little fish of the session. And it is a little bass. Get that hook out. Little small schoolie bass. That's fish number 1 and species number 1. So I'm going to send him straight back. Because I don't think he's 42 centimetres. I think he's a little bit too small. But it's a start, and we can work with that. Well, we've got our first bite on the bigger rods. Quite an erratic bite, so I think it's another little bass. I think we got it. Sure looked like a bass bite. Little crazy little schoolie. There he is. Another little bass. On the lugworm, that one. Don't get me wrong. It's a very small fish, but a bit of fun fishing. I'm enjoying it. Little bass on the lugworm. And also, I've been finding a couple sand eels popping up, so I have put one of them on my right hand rod here, because I've had it a few times down here where you'll be fishing like this, quite small hooks, and not really much action. And then I've put on some little sand eels and caught bass like that and a bit bigger quite quick, so it'd be interesting to see if they get picked up by anything. And who knows, we may get a big blonde take it, you never know. I have had blondes myself like 30 yards out here, so I would never say it's definitely not on the cards, but you know, it'd be fun on the like here. Well guys, I was literally thinking, well, I'm gonna pack him and go home. And I'd have one more cast with my lure rod. And I'd cast it up tight because it's dragging me down quick now. And it just stayed in the one spot the whole time. But every other cast has been tripping down quite bad. And I thought, like, I wonder if there's something on there. And there was. I'm buzzing. I've got a sole, basically, as you can probably tell. It's probably flapping around on camera. But there we go. I'm going to give it a quick wash actually. Let's give it, there's no pull. Well, I'm going to go give it a quick wash in the water and I'll bring you back for a closer look. Right, well there we go. I got to be fair, I'm buzzing because I was losing hope. Because I'm literally, like I said, I'm virtually, well, I am on my last cast. I've got one more lugworm and a little bit of rag left, but the quality of it's gone downhill massively. But that's on lugworm, that one. So I am buzzing, to say the least. It's not a big one, but it's, whoa, target achieved. So it sort of saved the video. But there we are. A nice Dover sole off of Lavernock sand spit, look. It's not all about the big blondes. But what I'm gonna do, because I've got a little bit of bait left, I'm gonna quickly unhook this fish. It's very deeply hooked. Well, this fish is coming home anyway. These are some of the best eating fish you can ask for. So, so there we are. Not a bad one, about a pound. It's quite a thick one. Well, I've got the other one. That was literally about, I don't know, about 15, 20 yards out. It was riding close because the tide is pulling through now on the flood. My other one, my right-hand one on my stand there, that's the same sort of distance out. My other one's a bit further, which I'm going to bring in close for a last cast. But there we go, guys. We did it. A nice Dover sole. Well, I reeled in my rod that was probably about 50 yards out. I put a gripper on and I put it a bit further out just to see if there's anything moving around out there. So I thought after that sole then, I thought I'd move it in. So what I wanted to do is show you how I'm baiting up with a baiting needle. I mean, a lot of you probably know, but the only reason I haven't shown it yet is just purely for the fact I didn't think I was going to get a fish, to be honest. Well, a fish worth showing, because I've had a few little bass, but they're not the most exciting fish to show on camera. So basically, a baiting needle is, now I use a baiting needle, I say baiting needle in all my baiting app talks, but it's not a traditional baiting needle. Now, an actual baiting needle is probably like a 3mm metal rod. On one end is a sharp point, and the other end is a little hole. So what you do is, now these are very big lugs for what I'm doing. Get your lug, put the point end through the head of the lug, try not to pierce the worm as you thread it on. Thread it all the way down until you meet the last bit of the lug worm. Now the little end bit, I just pinch that off. That's just going to come off in the cast anyway. So you got your lug worm threaded up like so. And then get your hook. Now, so the pointy end's down here and the hole is up this end. So I just get my hook, put it in there. Now I keep the line tight, my hook link, and then I just push the lug up there, and then it slides on nice and neat. Because if you do it freehand, or with a bigger hook, they're not too bad. But with a little small hook like that, there's a high chance you're going to pierce the worm as you go down, end up ripping it, and it's not as a neat presentation. But that there is perfect. So I'm gonna literally, that's my last lug worm left. I'm only gonna have one more cast, I think. So I'm literally just basically picking up scraps now, because the rag worm I got, the quality of it's gone really bad, just purely because the heat. And I'm not sure if I said at the start of the video, the fishing shops are struggling to get hold of it at the minute. There's a few problems with the worm farms or something. So getting hold of decent bait at the minute isn't easy. So I'm literally just picking up scraps. I mean, the rag worm I got is okay, it's not the best. Well, that's that one pretty much done. It's a little, I don't like doing this, I gotta be honest. You'll never see me doing stuff like this, picking up a little bit of scrap put on. I normally like to have like a full worm to actually put on, not scraps. But it's literally my last cast now, so it's gonna have to do basically. But there we are. I'm gonna cast that out there now, so I'll show you actually the distance I'm casting, and it's actually surprising how close in they are. So I've taken the gripper off, like I said. I've put on a little 4-ounce bore lead, well, pear lead. So we'll get that out there now. Now you'll probably be able to struggle to pick it up on camera, but there's a load of tide about like 20 yards out, and we're gonna try and stick it right on that crease. I'm gonna cast up tide slightly. There we go, and just drag that back slightly. Now it's hit bottom and I can see my shock leader, but don't be put off when you can pretty much see your leader. It really is surprising how close fish are here. Because casting that close in, you're still in about 1 foot to 2 foot of water, and obviously flat fish, I mean, they're flat, so they can be like 1 inch. But I'll sit back and see if these last rods produce anything. And hopefully they produce themselves a nice sole, because there are some big ones along here. I've heard them up to come off here for like in the 4-pound mark, which is a huge sole. But I'm happy with anything. I'm happy we've had one. Well, I just had a cracking bite on the one we just cast out. I think I'm tangled with my other rod. That was a very good bite. I think I'm tangled, but I think I got a fish on as well. I think. There's weight there, we got another one, I think. Oh, bass. No bass. He's tangled me up. Well, I thought we had another sole then, to be fair, after that bite I had. He just slammed the rod over, went all slack. But it's another little bass. There's the one we literally just cast out as well, so I'm going to flicker straight back out there. The baits aren't too bad. Obviously get this fish back first. Now, like I said earlier on, with that sole I had on the spinning rod, it didn't actually trip down the tide whatsoever. And that is actually what my other rod's doing. It's not moved down. And there's a lot of tide there. And it literally, it's just my line's still going up tide slightly. It hasn't budged or nothing. So I'm not saying that there's a fish on there, but there might be. So it's literally our last cast now. I can't fish anymore because I literally haven't got a single worm left that's alive. And Dover sole love good quality bait. From what I've heard and found myself, like if your worm's not the best quality and you're fishing for, you know, like whiting, bits of pouty and that kind of stuff, you're still in with a chance. But Dover sole, from what I've heard, they are quite particular with their feeding. Now, worm is better if you got it dug worm, so a live wild rag, opposed to your farmed. That's why I did pick up a bit of lugworm. And I gotta be fair, I was very close to not even bringing that spinning rod. And if I never, I wouldn't have had that sole. And I would have only had 2 or 3 bass now, because all the fish I've had really have been on my little spinning rod. So I think what I'll do next time, there's a few marks that is good for the sole. So I think next time I'm gonna just literally bring 2 lure rods, stay quite mobile. I'll still bring a box, but I'll bring these, I don't know, maybe little sand spikes might be better. And we could have a move around the whole spit, even try the back gully and have a good move round. I think we might have a fish. I think, do we? Yeah, something. Little bass again. It's not like piranhas today. But anyway, I think that is a sort of, I mean, one way of ending the video, because the bait left on my hooks on my other rod are not the best quality. They're just scraps I've been picking off the floor. So I'm not feeling too hopeful of that cast. So I think this is going to be the last fish for today. I'm going to send them back anyway. Well, I gotta be fair, I have really enjoyed this session. Something a bit different. And I mean, don't get me wrong, it hasn't been the most productive session quantity wise, but it's amazing when you set out for a specific species and actually catch it. And like I said, I'm glad I brought the spinning rod now, because if I didn't bring that rod as a third, I wouldn't have had that sole. So I gotta be honest though, every sole I've had off of here has been when I'm ray fishing and I bring a lure rod to chuck with a bit of worm in close while I'm ray fishing, and I've had a sole on it. So what I'm gonna do next time is just bring lure rods. And like I said, we can have a good walk about then. We can try a few different spots. Just cover ground, because sometimes, you never know, they might be all holding up in one spot. So it's just finding them, because the gully behind the spit here, I know for a fact holds them, because they used to get commercially fished in there. And they're big as well, really big. Like I know a guy that fishes this, not like regularly, but he fishes it for the sole. And he's had them up to just over I think it was £4.8 he said, or £4.9 was his biggest one. That's a huge Dover sole. But he'll only come down when he gets dug rag, so the wild stuff. Which I think if I had today, I would have liked to have said we might have had a couple, but we will be back. So I think for this video, all I got to say left now is thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.